So my earliest memory of a museum, I have many, because when I was really small, up until I was really big, my dad used to bring me here to the British Museum or the National Gallery, and the only rule is we were only allowed to look at one thing. So I remember the Rosetta Stone. I must have been tiny, and he said, we're not looking at anything else, we're just going to look at that today. And for some reason it was sort of magical, because it was sunny outside, but it wasn't very full inside. Maybe we came just as it opened. That is a very early memory. And Stubbs, the big Stubbs horse, and I was blown away by it.
Hiya, I'm Johnny Vegas, and I'm here confessing to the importance of museums and galleries and the part it's played in my life. The moment I realised I was artistically, I had those endeavours, I suppose they call it finding your tribe. To walk in somewhere and be in awe and majesty and inspired by these spaces where you went along, and I didn't feel weird, I didn't feel like an outsider for loving art.
Museums to me are not just about rooms full of artefacts, they're about the stories behind those artefacts, the people, the place, the time even the journey that artefact has made to get from this particular place to sit on that particular shelf in that particular gallery in that particular venue. Then there's the venues themselves, I mean the story behind them, the people who collected the items, who then endowed to have the buildings built so they could be exhibited for future generations. Because they are what our great cultural archive that helps us explain who we are, where we are, and what we are.
The wealth of information and knowledge, not only on display to any visitor, but also behind the scenes. The curators of these places work every day to tell an inspiring, interesting story about whatever it is their museum does. It might be a geographical thing, it might be an industrial thing, it might be a slice of history. Whatever it is, they have found an aspect of our national or global story, and they're telling it in an amazing and engaging way.
I think my earliest memory of a Glasgow museum would have to be the Old Transport Museum. I was taken by my dad many times. He would go and look at the old cars and motorbikes, and I would go and just wander down the old street. When I heard they were closing the museum and creating a new one, I was a bit worried at losing this street, but no, they've made it bigger and better. And in particular, I love the photography studio because you get a chance to dress up. I love being immersed in history. I have a TikTok channel that talks all about Scottish history, but something that I've been doing recently is immersing myself in it. So with my 2-year-old son and my 4-year-old daughter, we've been dressing up in historically accurate gowns and going to castles near and far, and just experiencing them. What they learn in the process is great, but actually we just go and we have fun and we experience everything that there is to experience. But we're so lucky to live near Glasgow, near all these wonderful museums. I would say my daughter would have to say her favourite museum is the Kelvingrove Museum and Art Gallery. But anyway, through my childhood of being brought up going to museums nearly every weekend, it really inspired this love and passion for Scottish history, which I aim to share through my TikTok channel to people in Scotland, teaching them things that they maybe never knew about their local history, and further afield, telling people about all the wonderful things about our country.
I've always been inspired by museums, and I'm talking about virtually every museum I've ever been in, whether it's like a grand museum like this one, the Lady Lever, or tiny little museums which are showing bits of life from small communities. I think they're all great, and I think they're absolutely inspiring. I don't think there's one museum I've ever been in that hasn't inspired me. I could name one, which is the Museum of Witchcraft in somewhere in Cornwall, and that inspired me to make a pottery fart jug, which apparently trapped evil spirits. I have actually made that, but I think I'm inspired every time I go into a museum.
Vital not to just creative people. I'm not creative, but I love going to a museum. They make us think, they make us feel small, which I think is a very important thing when so many things in life are trying to make us feel big. And they put us somewhere else. They take us out of, whether it's busy London or wherever you are in the UK or in the world, and they're like tiny little time machines, and you go back there and you immerse yourself, and that's from looking at a pot or an old book or a beautiful painting. And yeah, I love feeling tiny.
My name's Holly Johnson, and I'm standing here in the Market Rock Gallery in Liverpool, next to this wonderful Lucian Freud painting. Me and my best friend Peter May would escape from the Liverpool Collegiate School at lunchtime and come to the Walker Art Gallery as a kind of refuge from the torture of the being beaten and spat at, abused by other schoolboys for being flamboyantly gay men. But it always was a place of peace and beauty for me, with amazing lavatories filled with marble and ornate fittings. And I just used to love to come here. Later on I saw exhibitions by Gilbert and George in the early 80s, and which really inspired me and got me interested in more modern art.
By looking at other artists, looking at other creators, whether they be great creators, I say great creators, you know, ones that are well known, or just people who make something like a fart jug.
I'm quite sure I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for museums, and I think Britain is secretly a world-leading nation in terms of the museums we have. Whether you're at the Keswick Pencil Museum, whether you're at the Hunterian in London, whether it's a tiny one-room place or a huge building like the Natural History Museum, everywhere you go, you find these little temples and little sites of inspiration that have been so important in shaping so many lives and so much of Britain's creative industries. So long may they reign.
Hi, my name's Steve Knightley. I'm a singer-songwriter and also proud to be an honorary patron of the Royal Albert Memorial Museum here in Exeter. When it reopened in 2011, after refurbishment, I was asked to write a song, and the strapline was "Home to a Million Thoughts," and that was perfect for me, because it's not about the artifacts or the exhibits, it's about the memories that are instilled in you through various stages of your life. So the first verse was me as a child wandering into that building, seeing the giraffe peering down. The second verse was me as a student taking my A-levels in Exeter and meeting my first girlfriend there in the rain. And the final verse was me as a parent taking my 3 youngsters to see the sights that I first saw. So I'll sing you the final verse because I think it captures what I wanted to say. Home to a Million Thoughts. A mother lifts her son towards the light, and it sets a myriad sparkling wings to flight into the fabric of the walls. Their laughter down the hall will pin a million secret dreams tonight, where the present and the past make connection. Time and space turn in their direction. In every frame, on every shelf, we look close and we find ourselves in a home to a million thoughts and 1,000 reflections. If all roads led to Rome, then this one has brought me home in a million thoughts and 1,000 reflections. My only hope is that millions of other people can end up with the same memories that I have, and that could create a song